So have you been pleased with your decision to dedicate your career to simplicity?
Very pleased, because I feel that I've made a real contribution to people's lives. Really, every day-to-day transaction and interaction benefits from an emphasis on clarity and simplicity.
How does big business benefit from simplicity?
They benefit in many ways. Certainly they benefit in terms of cost savings, but in addition to streamlining and productivity gains, they gain in consumer trust. And we have found over and over in our research and in the projects that we have worked on that customers are more inclined to trust companies that speak in a straightforward and direct manner.
What are the biggest obstacles you find in dealing with big business and getting people to simplify?
Sometimes the hesitancy is status quo. People are doing business and they're thriving, and they don't realize that they would be doing more business and saving more money if they took the extra step to simplify.
Business is so tuned to using research to validate that things that they do make sense. How do you test that what you've done is simple and that it's a benefit to these companies?
The test of simplicity is really a combination of testing comprehension and perception of simplicity. And the method we have found best is an online survey methodology that we have refined over time. It allows you to test in a quantitative way, to test quickly, and to test befores and afters, so you can measure actual comprehension and ability to complete tasks.
What are the key elements that you use to simplify complexity?
It's a combination of getting the structure right, which is the most important, so that the organization of information is intuitively logical. And then it's a combination of plain language writing and clear information design, so that the information is visually appealing, attractive, enticing. If you don't get someone to even interact with the information, the battle is lost. But once they do interact, it has to be clear and practical.
What are the industries that have really benefited from simplicity in the last 15 or 20 years?
Health and wealth, because finance and the healthcare fields have so many complicated transactions, products, and services. They are the areas where people's everyday lives intersect with that complexity, and companies who have simplified those interactions have benefited.
What are the major objections people raise when you talk to them about simplicity?
First and foremost, they say the regulators and the lawyers. Often they'll say, oh, I'd like to do that, my company should simplify, but I don't think we can get around the requirements for disclosure. The regulatory requirements are too onerous. We have not found that to be true, that actually there's a lot of room for interpretation, even in highly regulated industries such as Wall Street or healthcare. But often that's used as an excuse.
I think one of the things that comes up all the time in our discussions with people is this conception that simplicity equates with simple-minded. How do you address that in your day-to-day dealings?
Simplicity is really achieved by moving the inherent complexity in something out of the sight of the end user. So the product or service will remain as complicated as it needs to be, but it doesn't necessarily have to show through to the end user. So there's a winnowing and a filtration and a distillation that goes on, but it's not about glossing over any of the significance.
Okay, if you have any questions about simplification, be sure to pick up our book, Simple. Look at our website for Siegelvision, and if you're really interested, give us a call.